What's up, everybody? This is Ace from Ace Corner Talk. Glad that everyone is healthy and in good spirits, hopefully. What we're about to experience today may be graphic, may have some content that might not be age appropriate or suitable for children. So parental discretion is advised.
Der Hass lässt dir keine Leid für die andere Ecke. Hier gibt nur Gott, wo die Liebe ist. Der Hass ist, der gibt keine Liebe. Weil man nicht dorthin kommt, wo der Schöpfer ist. Du weißt noch, was du zu sagen hast? Gibt das Zeichen? Sprich das Zeichen zum Ausfahren.
Creepy or unexplainable videos are great, but when it's strictly a sound portraying the message, there's something much more ominous about it. I've gathered up 10 of the creepiest sound recordings I could find. You will hear a part of each audio clip listed. All clips will be linked in the description. Serial killer David Parker Ray would force his victims to listen to a tape once they woke up in his terrifying sex dungeon. Ray would hold women in his expensive lair that he referred to as his toy box for months at a time and was suspected of having killed many victims. This isn't the original recording, but rather a transcription read out by a YouTuber who posted it.
What you just heard was a recording from the actual exorcism from Emily Rose. And that exorcism that took place was very much so as real as me sitting in front of this computer talking to you. And I know people might not believe in God. They might not believe in the devil, and they might try to push that logic out of their mind of whether it's real or not. But there's no other way to explain the type of behavior that you just heard. That was the audio from Emily Rose. They made a movie about it, if you ever seen it. There's no other way to explain that type of behavior other than to classify it as a phenomenon dealing with spiritual entities and power. Myself, I was not a believer of that. I could not grasp it or understand in my mind the severity or the realness of that particular type of behavior and those type of things happening until I physically seen it myself. When I physically seen it with my own eyes, there was no disputing of whether I felt or believed that there was this type of behavior outside of the normal behavior of a human being. When I physically seen it with my own eyes, that was the only way that I would have been persuaded that this was real. And I can remember when I was in church, I seen it for my own self. I seen it. I seen it for my own self. So with that being said, I'm going to go in right to what I got to speak about today. I'm going to read one scripture. 1 Samuel, chapter 15, 23rd verse. Just a small piece. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as adultery, as iniquity and adultery. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected thee from being king. I wanted to talk today about who betwixt you. And it's kind of crazy because we don't understand when we look at the everyday average person, we don't understand how an individual can act the way he acts, or an individual can be the way they are outside of their normal behaviors and characteristics. I'm gonna open this chat up. What's up, everybody? I just want to say Muhammad. Say hey to my wife that's in the chat today, Latasha Pope. Thank y'all for being a part. So outside of the normal behavior of an individual, we see people and we see them as they are. Okay, somebody walking up down the street talking to themselves. The first thing we just think they're crazy. Oh, that's the first thought that hits our minds. Like, man, that person crazy. Look at him talking to himself. But we never dig a little deeper in our thought pattern or in our mind to say, you know what? There might be something outside of him just being crazy that could be wrong with that individual. May it be peace to everybody. May it be that he might not have his medication. That could be a possibility. Or may it be that there was a terminally ill thing that's going on inside of him. But never do we first think about there could actually be a spiritual problem with the individual. And that's only saying because of how I used to be. When I used to see people doing that, we used to say the crazy lady or the crazy man. They used to have bags taped all around them, and they would have all of these bundled up clothes all over them and hair matted. And the first thing we will say is they crazy. But never did we think to say that that individual could have a spiritual issue. I want to talk about who betwixt us. The first, I'm going to give you, we're going to go through some signs of understanding how you can be betwixt or be under the influence of witchcraft. Very real, very serious. This is not a game. I'm not on here just to spit some stuff to you. We're going to dig a little bit deep without getting anybody scared of what I'm about to say And in order to get an understanding of who we deal with in the individuals in our everyday life, on our job, in our families, who we deal with, just in case we don't understand them. Now, just because we don't understand them don't mean they're vexed or they have a issue. It might just be we don't understand them. But I'm going to give you specific behaviors, specific patterns that you can see for yourself to say, you know what? That's one of the characteristics of somebody that is potentially betwixt or bewitched. Okay? Betwixt is another word of saying bewitched. Okay? So, some specific characteristics of somebody that's going to be under the influence. The first thing to recognizing the signs of somebody that's under the influence of witchcraft, or maybe it be yourself. Okay, some people asked me this question a long time ago. Can you be saved and still be under the influence of witchcraft? Or under a possession? And that's what Emily Rose, she was under a possession. So I had that question come up during so many different topics when talking about religion and that type of stuff. And the question the answer, that I had to give back was yes, it is possible for a person to be under the influence of witchcraft. Yes, it is. It's very much so possible to be saved and be under the influence of witchcraft. Now, being under a possession is a little bit different. And I'm going to give you the difference between the two. See, because when you're under a full possession of a spirit, that means it has taken complete control of your will. That means you're no longer in control of your will. That's what we seen in that clip with the Emily Rose thing. She was no longer in control of her will. That spirit has completely dominated the spirit in her. So she was no longer in control. Every time the priest or the priestly who came around her with anointed oil or anointed water, that spirit begins to act up, begins to do all type of convulsions or whatever the case was. The presence of a godly spirit intertwining with a full possession or a full possessed person, it would immediately act up. Woo, boy, I tell you. This right here, I feel this thing right here because I know how real it is. Out of the experiences I've had and what I've seen, it's just completely real. Okay, so fear is the first sign of understanding witchcraft is working behind the scenes in your life. Now, the Bible talks about having a fear in God or a fear of God. It's not talking about the type of fear that you're scared and trembling and scared of God. No, it's talking about the type of fear that you reverence God. That's the fear that the Bible talks about when it says fearing God. Not the type of fear where I'm scared in the corner, crouched up, and you're scared to look around. No, that's not the type of fear when the Bible speaks about having a fear in God. It's talking about the fear, meaning reverence of God, meaning reverencing God. Okay? So when a person, the first signs of being betwixt is when you start to have a fear of things. When things begin to fear you, okay? When you're scared and fearful in your heart of something. When you feel a fear of your children walking to school, when you fear like something's about to happen. Some people may call it a notion. Some people may call it my intuition. Okay? When you have a fear of spiders, or a fear like something that is heart-wrenching to you, a fear of heights. I ain't climbing on no upstairs and going to the Empire State, but I fear that. That is a sign of witchcraft, meaning you're bewitched. That means something is slowly working. does not mean all at once. It means it's slowly working in your life. So when you have that certain fear, when you have that certain inner fear in your heart, that's the first sign of being under the influence of witchcraft. I'm not saying being submerged under demonic influence. I'm talking about the sign of being under the influence of witchcraft. It's the first sign. Okay? Number one, when you're increasingly confused or disoriented, clumsy, that's a sign of witchcraft working in you. Okay? When you become disoriented and confused, confusion is not of the Spirit of God. When things come into your life to confuse your life, that is a spirit that comes from the enemy. That means the sign of witchcraft is working in your life. When you start to see a lot of confusion popping up, when you start to see a lot of things happening, may it be somebody coming talking negativity, bringing confusion in your life, that's a sign of witchcraft working in your life. Okay? Now, people get into arguments, people get into misunderstandings, but when you consistently see a pattern of confusion, because that comes from the devil, or that is a spirit that is working behind you or in you. Confusion. So you're disoriented. You don't know from one minute to the next what's going on. You don't understand how you got into this situation or this issue or this problem. You just understand that you're in the problem, but don't know how you got in the problem. Have you ever sat back and you said, man, how did I get into this situation? It was good just a week ago, or a couple of days ago, I was fine. But now I see myself in this particular situation, and you don't understand what is happening. Or when you start to see a lot of adversity around you, okay? When this breaks out in your life, this person comes against you, this person comes against you, your family comes against you, that is a sign that witchcraft is working behind the scenes, okay? There's people that work seances. See, the Bible acknowledges that. The Bible acknowledges witches, warlocks, it acknowledges demons. All of that stuff is real. They used to practice that stuff back in the day. Some people say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. But back in the day, back in the slavery days, they used to use that to put spells on the slave masters. So if you want to go back to an origin of where you can trace where it began, let's go back to the slavery days. Let's go back to the early 1800s. Let's go back to the 1700s when they used to practice witchcraft and how they used to cast spells on the slave masters and how they used to, in their condition, used to read seance books, used to hide the books. So that way, when it was time to grab the books to cast spells, they used to cast spells on the slave masters. They used to go grab pieces of hair and make seances over the hair so they can cast spells. Be very careful of any new individuals you let into your life, okay? Be very careful of who you intertwine into your life, because you very well might be letting a person that has been sent, okay? You very well might be allowing a person into your circle, into your life, that might be sent there to usher the spirit of witchcraft in your life, okay? Because it doesn't come all at once. It comes subtle. Witchcraft comes subtle. It's a working in your life. Some people don't understand that. Some people think that, oh, all of a sudden they sprinkle some dust over you, throw some salt over your shoulder while you're eating lunch in a restaurant. It doesn't happen like that. What happens is it's really subtle. It's really subtle. You might see an internet break here and you're wondering why it happened, and you're confused about it, you don't understand, or you might see something happen over here, or you might feel it in your heart like, why is this happening? It's a subtle working in your life, but it can be headed off once you pick up and notice what is taking place. Like, okay, you know what? I don't feel that this is right. I just met this individual, but whatever. I just don't feel like this brother is right or this sister is right. Okay? Be careful of the language they use, the tone, the speech. Maybe they might, even if it's somebody that say they saved and they start trying to speak over your life, okay? Be very careful of people that try to speak into your life. Be careful of people that says, I got a word for you. Be careful. Because just because they say that, and just because they give an appearance that they're saved or that they're in God does not mean that they're in God, does not mean that they're saved. They could very well be sent to usher that spirit in, to attack or attach itself to you. So you got to be very careful. Be very careful of who you let speak over your life. Be careful who you let entertain you. Be very careful of who you let talk to you in your ear. Because they very well can be casting a spell or planting in you a spell. So you got to be careful. When people come and want to talk, oh, you know what? The Lord gave me a word for you. I know I just met you, but there's a word for... No, hold on. Wait a minute, brother. I'm sorry. I understand you have a word for me. You know, but right now, I'm not ready. I'm not in a position to receive your word. I apologize, but, but keep it moving. Don't allow individuals to speak into your life. When they say, I'm going to speak into your life, your red flag should be raised up. Wait a minute. What you mean speak into my life? What you mean? Who are you, first of all, to speak into my life? That's the question you need to ask. Who are you that you say you're going to speak into my life? Wait a minute, brother. I don't know you. Or wait a minute, sister. I don't know you. So how are you going to speak into my life? Who sent you? Begin to question the individual that says they're going to speak into your life. It's time to get down to some teaching right now because there's a lot of foolishness going on. I see a lot of stuff. I hear a lot of stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. The enemy, the devil, or whatever you want to call him, he cannot refute factual things. He cannot refute that Bible. Okay? He can refute the pages, the words, but he cannot refute what actually happened in the content in the Bible. So I'm not here to dispute it. I'm here to bring facts, okay, of what the actual Bible says. So if you don't subscribe to it, that's fine. But I'm trying to give you some facts to help you. You start to see people come around you. See, because if you're a positive person, if you have positivity in you, if you have the Spirit of God in you, or whatever the case is, people will flock to you, okay? That's the first thing. People will flock to you. You'll be a magnet drawing all kind of spirits, people, all kind of things will come and flock to you. That's because what is in you. There's going to be people who are attracted to you because the spirit that's in you. They're either going to try to withdraw from you or they're going to try to add to you. But you gotta decipher between which is which. So keyword. Oh, I'm gonna speak a word into your life. The Lord gave me a word. And all that crazy stuff. That is a working of seance. They have to get it in here somehow. Once you start listening, once you start hearing that foreign thing in you, wait a minute, it has to disagree. If you got the God in you, he will speak to you. No, don't receive that because that's going to start the ball rolling to the influence in your life. Okay? Number 2, feeling emotionally drained. And I'm going to give you an example. Feeling like you got the flu, right? When you don't have the flu. You ever felt like you had the flu? You went to the doctor and they said, no, everything is fine. But you have the symptoms and the feeling. You're drained. You're tired. You know something is wrong. But when you go to the doctors, they say nothing is wrong. That right there is a clear sign that there's a working behind the scenes working in you. Meaning that betwixt, somebody is trying to seance over you. And Latasha Pope, you know what I'm talking about. Hey, sis, you in the South? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff is practiced heavy in the South. I had people that I know that was a part of the family. They did this stuff, man. They practiced this witchcraft stuff. distant relatives that I knew of that practiced witchcraft. That started the ball rolling to generational curses. Come on, Natasha Pope, you know what I'm talking about. Southern people practice it. You go to Louisiana, man, this stuff is full of that in Louisiana, witchcraft and stuff. Grabbing chicken bones and seancing with blood and stuff. That's very much so real. Very much so real. I used to have my grandmother saying, boy, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking crazy like that? That girl put some witchcraft on you or something? No, Grandma, I love her. That's my baby. I only knew her a little while, but I love her. My grandma used to tell me, boy, what's wrong with you looking crazy? Somebody done put some witchcraft on you. What's wrong with you, boy? But Grandma, I love her. Not knowing that behind the scenes something was working that drew me or pulled me into that. Man, y'all making me work today, man. Good God, y'all sweating over here. Y'all making me work. Just wanted to say peace to the aces in the hole. What's good, everybody? Glad that you're tuning in to 10 of y'all. Okay, feeling emotionally drained. Have you ever felt like it happens in spurts and in periods of time in your life? You ever felt like you had so much things going on, things are popping and things look, and all of a sudden it's just an overwhelming, draining feeling, like you just can't get out of bed, or you feel like it's hard to move along, like, I don't want to go to work today, man. I'm so tired. What is wrong with me today? That is a sign of witchcraft working behind the scenes. Okay? Now, I know some people talking right now. Well, you can be tired from just having 2 jobs and being overexerted and all that stuff. I understand that. I'm not talking about that. You have to identify with the difference between the two. Okay? Because sometimes you can catch a 2 or 3 hour nap, a 20-minute nap, and get a power nap is what we call it, and you can keep moving. But I'm talking about from one day to the next, you have that draining feeling and no motivation of doing anything. It's like you're struggling to work and do things. That's a sign that witchcraft is working behind the scenes. See, the devil hates when I talk like this. He hates to bring this type of stuff up, because the first time you grab a hold to it or you're aware of it, that means he's exposed. So when you expose this particular type of information, the enemy gets mad because he can't work in that area anymore. When it's exposed to you, the devil can't work in that area. When you're enlightened by it, you say, whoa, wait a minute. I got that. Yeah, I got that in here. I feel that. That means it's exposed. He can't work in that area anymore. He has to go to something different or try something different. Number 3, you will begin to have a rush of fear. This targets your imagination. So a rush of fear, like it will come in, boom. Why do I feel like that? I'm scared of this, or this is happening. That's right. Natasha Pope, and I'm sorry to just stop right in between my teaching, but Natasha Pope says there's a difference between physical tiredness and mental tired. That's what Natasha Pope says. There's a difference between physically being tired and mental being tired, which is true. There's a big difference. Physically and mentally, emotionally tired. But when things work behind the scenes that have been designed to attach itself to you, that's what I'm talking about. Because it's not going to be normal. It's going to be abnormally. Okay? That's what I was driving to. When things are abnormal, it's increased 10 times fold. It's not the same. It's not the same of just feeling like, oh man, I'm just tired today, man. Because I was up watching The Bachelor, or I was up watching Big Brother, man, and missed them 2 hours of sleep. So I'm a little tired right now. I'm not talking about that. Okay? I'm not talking about that. I was watching Atlanta Housewives last night when I should have been in bed. Now I'm at work, tired, and eyes bucking and looking crazy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an abnormal feeling of being tired, where you can't shake that thing. Even with you taking a nap, you're still tired. You're waking up, driving tired, dozing off at the wheel. Everything you do is a sense of being tired. So having a rush of fear, and it targets your imagination. It targets what you think. When you fear something, your imagination begins to run wild. You begin to attract the negativity to you. Okay, you know what? Oh man, I'm scared of this. I'm scared to be at home alone. You home and you going to the bathroom, looking over your shoulder, bucking and thinking things falling off the wall, and you scared to use the bathroom. You home with in the lights, jumping up out of your sleep, thinking somebody chasing you or thinking something going. No, that's that behind the scenes of that witchcraft working. That's that working. You got to know. You got to know. You got to be aware of the signs. Number 4, when experiencing relationship problems, right? And I'm not just talking about marital problems with your wife, your girl. I'm talking about problems when it comes to relating with individuals, when it comes to the normal behavior when you're intertwining with your friends or your cousins or family or somebody on the job. Like your relationship situations begin to be at a disarray. You can't get along with somebody. Everything somebody says, you're quick to jump at it. Everything somebody do annoys you. That is a working of witchcraft. Okay, that means that every time something bothers you at a drop of a dime, you ready. You are ready. You know, because our normal state, we are taught to be logical. We are taught to think before we act. Some people, they do that. I don't know about all. Some people are diving you in a minute. I knew some brothers that you say one, boom, before you even get out your mouth, they dove on you. So some of that is possible. But what I'm talking about is how an individual, right? You can't get along with them. Then you beefing with this person or you beefing with that person, but you don't understand why you can't get along with somebody. And then the first thing you'll say is them. Never contributing to that it might be you, or never contributing that you might have contributed to that problem or that particular situation. That's a sign of witchcraft working behind the scenes. See, some of this might not pertain to somebody that is not subscribed or does not understand spiritual things. Okay, somebody might just blow this off as it just being something that I'm talking about. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. I don't believe in that stuff. That's hogwash. Whatever that boy's saying. Whatever. Blah, 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 blah. No. Okay? Whether you believe in it or not, whether you subscribe to it or not, whether you believe in God or not, it's real. To me, it's real because I understand the experiences. And from talking to other people, from being in the presence of people who have the power to deal with this type of stuff. Just because you push it out of your mind and try to believe it's not real does not mean it's not real. It just means you're not in the position or the place to receive it. Because once you receive it, you'll understand that when you begin to get into these particular situations and you begin to see these things unfold to you, when God begins to reveal a small portion of these situations, you'll begin to understand it's real. See, God is not going to give it to you all at once. See, people think once you get saved that God's supposed to give you everything. No, he reveals things to you. Some things you're not going to be able to handle. So that's why God can't give it to you all at once. He can't give it to you all at once. So he reveals it bit by bit, piece by piece. So he might let you have an experience where you might have a dream that seems so real. It might seem like you're actually woke. You're in a state, but he's allowing you to feel the different dimensions. So you, although you might be asleep, you're in a real state. Boy, man, when you working, man, when you trying to work to get this stuff out, I know when I'm faced with adversity, when I'm trying to articulate this type of message or this type of enlightenment to somebody, because I know the feeling I get, I know. See, the enemy don't want people to hear this type of stuff. They don't want people to know that it could be something working behind the scenes that is hindering them. He don't want you to know that. He don't want you. Those who know how to pray, he don't want you to know that because he don't want you to pray about it. He don't want you to seek God for help behind the scenes about what is attached to your life, who came into your life. Yeah, that dude that is so smooth and so good looking, how do you know that he wasn't sent for an assignment against you to stop your destiny? All you looking out is the outer appearance. Oh, look at him. He looks so good. Oh, look how he look. Oh, he's so fine and handsome. Oh. Not knowing that the devil could have sent him your way. And all you see is the outer appearance of how he is. But never digging deep and asking the proper questions to understand where he is with his spiritual life or with his life, period. But all you see is how fine and smooth the brother is. Fly by curly hair, nice toned skin and cut up body. But you ain't never realizing what could be behind the scene. And you brothers looking at how long her hair is, how curved and chiseled she might be, but not asking the proper questions. You could be attaching yourself to a witch or a warlock, or a witch, excuse me, not a warlock. A warlock could be a male, but a witch, not even knowing it. So at the end of the day, when we begin to analyze our life, when we first had that fear of something, it is the beginning of the workings of witchcraft. Again, I'm going to reiterate, not talking about witchcraft as far as I'm not talking about as far as fear of God in the sense that you're scared, but I'm talking about the reverence of God is the sign of fear in God. That means you fear God, but not scared or trembling of God. You know he's God. But when you have that other fear, it's the beginning of the workings of witchcraft. Thank you for the thumbs down. That lets me know that lets me know you're already defeated. But I appreciate it though. See, some people are not going to receive, but that's okay. Because it's not for me to get mad, it's not for me to judge, it's not for me to question why you don't want to receive it. If you don't, you don't. That's just where it boils down to. I'm beyond the stage of my life where I'm convinced anybody of anything. I just share my experiences and my truths and what I believe. And if you don't agree with that, that's cool. We still could be cool and still could be friends. But when things start to happen in your life and you do not understand why things are upside down and you still haven't found out why these things are taking place, I can only question and only can sympathize with what you're going through. Just have been in some of these particular situations myself. I had to step back to realize what is taking place and get the proper counsel. I had to get the proper counsel to help me through some of these transitions I was going in my life. I did not understand why I did the crazy things I did. Why the addictions were so heavy. Why the cravings were so heavy. Why that fear of certain things was like it was. Until I had to have somebody interpret in the spirit what these things were. And then started to get books about spiritual warfare and about demons and witch and warlocks. What works behind the scene against you? That doing research, searching the Bible, searching material out there, listening to testimonies and experiences. This is how you begin to get down to what is working in your life. You may not do that. You might just listen to what I'm saying and notice a pattern in your life and want to know how do you deal with it or how do you fix it. You could be in that predicament or that situation. I want to read this last scripture very quickly, not even a whole paragraph. Or it shouldn't be a whole paragraph. Okay. All right. I'm going to read Ephesians chapter 6. 10th verse. Finally, my brother, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the realms of the devil. This is Paul speaking to the church of Ephesians. So he says, verse 11, put on the whole armor of God, that ye might be able to stand against the realms of the devil, meaning the devices of the devil, meaning whatever the devil puts against you, you will be able to stand against that. Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Okay, I'm going to read that part one more time. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the ruler of darkness. So people might give the false narrative that Satan does not have powers. Oh, I beg to differ with you. Oh, yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does have powers, but he's limited in using his power. But he has power because he got kicked out of Satan with power. I mean, out of heaven with power. So he has power. Don't never let people, Christians, people on the outside, whoever, tell you that your arch enemy does not have power, because they will be lying to you, giving you a false narrative and setting you up. Yes, he does. He has power, but he's limited in the amount or the use of power permitted by God. God permits things to happen or permits him to use a certain level of power in your life. That's what God talks about. He will not put no more on you than you can bear. Okay? Because God knows that he's not going to allow the enemy to do more to you than you can bear. So people always, people that don't believe in the Bible, that are mad with God because of what happened in their life, the first thing they say is, so why God let death happen? So why God let children die? So why God let innocent children burn in fires? Or why God let innocent children get shot? Okay? But you got to realize that God already has that plan already worked out. Just because something happened to them does not mean they're not going to make it to heaven. Okay? Does not mean that God already did not have a plan for them. See, because God can take any situation and use it for his good. He's God. So people will begin to say, well, God let all of this terrible stuff happen in the world. Yes, he does allow these things to happen. But depending on us as the individual to have enough wisdom and enough knowledge to see past what is taking place at that particular time. Not questioning God why, but getting an understanding of at that particular time, he's allowing this to happen for whatever reason he wants it to happen for. Whether it's to say, whether he sacrificed one person to save 100 people, or whether one person is sacrificed for one individual, me or so-and-so. You don't know what God uses a situation for. People automatically subscribe it as being something negative. And that's not always the case. The committee's in the building. What's up? Peace. What's up, Logic? Food, clothing, shelter. What's up? Peace to the committee. So some people, they do not, they all immediately just contribute to all bad things to say why God allowed this to happen. Why did this little girl get killed? Or why did this little boy get killed? And they automatically say there is no God because that happened. That's not so. Because if God already had a plan and their destiny and what they was purposed for has already been met, from no matter what happened, then that means they're already going to be where God intended them to be. We don't know. I can't say whether heaven or hell, but if I would researching the Bible and knowing what I know about the Bible, the age of accountability and what they say it is around the time that they say age of being accountable is for, then I will give you the logic of saying, okay, you know what? Even though that was a little child, I believe God has another plan. And now they're in heaven or whatever the case is. But don't automatically contribute to blaming God because a certain situation happened. Because God could have sacrificed or allowed something to happen to save you and 1,000 others. Just like he can take one to save 1,000, God could take one to allow 1,000 to be saved from a tragic thing. All right, so we're going to Ephesians. Let me finish that scripture. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Some people don't even know that this world belongs to Satan. Some people say, no, the world belongs to God. No, it does not. The earth shall pass away, and the sin and thereof. The world does not belong to God. It belongs to Satan. That's why he's able to do what he wants to a certain degree when God allows it in the earth. Because this right here belongs. God said he will prepare a place, meaning this world is going to pass. He's preparing a place. I don't want to teach. I don't know why I'm teaching, but I'm just telling you. People have the misnotion that this world belongs to God. He's not concerned about this right now. He's not concerned about this world. He's concerned about you in this world. Meaning you right now in this physical world, in this physical realm. Not worried about because it belongs to Satan. That's why in Job, that's why when Satan came before God and he said, and God said, my servant Job, and said, what art thou have with Job? And Satan said, walking to and fro in it down and in the earth. Meaning he was seeking who he can tempt and seeking who he can deal with or who he can tempt and do all kind of crazy stuff to. And God said, have you considered my servant Job? So God already knew he had Job in the midst, but Satan was walking to and fro in the earth, looking to see who he can devour. And then it says in that verse 12, in the world against spiritual wickedness in high places. In high places. Be very careful what you say and speak out into the atmosphere. Don't you know Satan can't read your mind? Don't you know the devil can't read your mind? The only way he knows how to head you off and what you're doing in your life is when you speak it. When people begin to speak it into the atmosphere, he picks that up. That spirit, that old serpent, the Satan, whatever you want to call him, he picks the negativity up. He picks what you say up. That's why people so quick to tell all their business. They quick to tell their next plan, their next course of action in life. What you plan to do, what you're going to do. Some things you got to keep quiet until God worked that thing out behind the scenes. Because as soon as you start speaking it, as soon as you put it in the atmosphere, he's already put a plan of action to stop you from progressing or stop you from gaining what you have put in your mind and in your heart to do. Excuse me. So that's why. What's up, truthfully honest? Good to see you. That's why it's important. It's important not to speak out of your mouth certain things to certain people, because they will begin to put things into action, into play, to stop you. Don't you know when you have something good going on, all of a sudden you say, man, why in the world is this happening to me? Why can I ever get beyond that period? Why am I always stopped when I put my best foot forward? It's because you've been speaking to people and you've been speaking to the wrong person. Sometimes if God gives you an idea, sometimes if God speaks something into your heart, keep that between you and God. Stop telling everybody your business. Because you don't understand that Satan hears it, puts a plan in action to stop you from progressing in what you felt. Because God can give you something, or you can have your dreams and aspirations. He can ignite that in you, and all of a sudden you enthused and you're happy about doing it. Then all of a sudden, you telling everybody, oh, look what happened. Oh, look what I, and all of a sudden people taking your ideas, copying your ideas, duplicating your ideas. But what did you do? You spoke and you told what you wanted to do before time. God says, hold on to that thing. But you bubble guts in the mouth and you so antsy to want to tell everybody. Got vultures out there that want to suck and leech off of you. You might have brilliance in you. And people who only want to surround themselves to drain you and to take ideas from you and to suck you dry. Wickedness in high places. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about being betwixt. Who betwixt you? Who have you been entertaining? Who have you been around? Who have you been talking to? What have you let entered into your life? Who have you let in your corner? Who befriends you that God did not send to help you? You're in a position in your life and you might be feeling like, you know what? I need some help, God. God sends the help, but when he wants to send it. So all of a sudden, soon as you begin to cry out to God in your secret place or in your hiding, wherever you pray to or whatever, however you do that, whether you're praying on the bed, standing up in a closet, whatever, when you begin to do that, Satan will send somebody your way or the enemy. Some people don't like to even say, I don't know, I don't believe in Satan. Okay, the enemy. The enemy will send somebody your way to attach themselves to you. And now all of a sudden, you're not only dealing with your nature, not only dealing with yourself, now you are dealing with the attachments that came into your life. So now you're dealing with double. That's where confusion comes in. Spirit of witchcraft. Now you're confused. Before that person came into your life, you were so enthused, you had good ideas, you was inspired. Now, since that person been in your life, you're talking negative, you're arguing all the time, you're arguing and bickering back and forth, and you don't understand that that spirit has came in for a particular reason to stop you. I know I'm telling the truth. I know I'm telling the truth. See, sometimes we got to take time out of our busy life to get a better understanding from both perspectives. Whether you're thinking logic or whether you think it's spiritual, you have to take a look at why certain things happen, not just out of coincidence. There's going to be things that you're never going to explain why it happened. Some people always want to ask God, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Sometimes it's not for you to understand why. You need to understand that you can get through it. Sometimes God does not want to reveal to you at a particular time why something is going on. See, because there's a lesson in it. And if God reveals to you beforehand what it is, you might abort the mission. You might try to overstep the mission. And then thus you don't get the lesson in the mission or in what God had for you in that particular time. So that's why God does not reveal to you every single step or everything that is coming. He just equips you with some knowledge, wisdom, with that intuition to say, you know what? I got to stand still on this one. I'm going to trust God on this one. I better not move before time or beforehand because a particular situation might occur if I do. That's where you gotta start relying on that on the inside. Because if you start to move beforehand, you might jump ahead of God. You might jump ahead of him when he's telling you, sit still and know that I'm God. I'm about to work this thing out for you. I'm about to deal with all this madness in your life. Okay? I'm about to line you up so you can walk right into this thing. Sometimes you got to be that. You just got to stop rushing and stop being so antsy and moving before time. People want to be antsy. They want to move. They want to, oh, it's a fast-paced life. Stop trying to seek popcorn stuff. Take your time. Analyze where you are. Take the steps that needed to be taken. So that way, when you begin to move in God, he will reveal bit by bit why this is happening. And if he chooses not to, does not mean he ain't God. It just means that you need to be in the fire just a little bit longer till you get what it is that he's trying to show you. Okay? Some people want to move. Some people want to go before time because they feel, well, I know God is pushing me to do this, but never seek God or never ask for counsel or never ask for direction. and go out there and get in a shipwreck. Now you're mad with the world because you moved before time and you moved before God. Be still and know that I'm God. That's what he says. Be still and know that I'm God. I had to stumble and fall. I had to go through so many experiences to catch on to some of these lessons. Some of you are warriors. Some of you have been sent and designed to deal with the enemy. But you're so caught up on all that popcorn stuff. God has designed you to be a warrior for him. Designed you. You. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. You feel it in your heart. You even know it. But have designed you to be that warrior. But you're so caught up on the popcorn stuff that you can't even hear God's voice. That you can't even hear him working behind the scenes on the low. So you allow all of those things to escape your reality and to escape your mind. I'm not saying you got to be a preacher and got to be in a church on a mountaintop declaring God's word. Oh, nobody's saying that. Because I know this generation and this world has been turned off from preachers and God and all that other stuff. I know there's fake out there. I know there's people that are not real, that are doing things that are not what God has planned for them to do. They're doing things in the church, out of the church, making a mockery and a shipwreck of people's lives. I know that. I have been and have experienced a taste of that. So I do understand that's out there, but does not mean that God in the stillness of the night doesn't have somebody that is able and willing to help you along your journey, that can implant wisdom or say something that can encourage you to move beyond where you are. Now, I'll be crazy not to believe that. I'll be crazy not to believe that God cannot send somebody to you. Because it happened to me. It happened to me. And can't nobody refute my testimony, what I've been through. Only I can tell that. And I have no reason to be online. I have no reason to be on this live stream lying to anyone. Because what happened to me, that's my reality, my factuals, and that's what it is. And my wife is online right now. She's in that chat. And she can tell you verbatim things that happened to me since we've been married. Since we've been married. And I guarantee you, things ain't pretty. The walk in God, the walk of life is not pretty. God didn't ever say it was going to be pretty. And God speaks about these things in the Bible. He even speaks about there being other gods. The God of the Bible never said there wouldn't be other gods. He even acknowledged that there is other gods. But he said there's only one God. That's what he said. So don't let people bring that narrative that, oh, God, no. He said there is other gods. Those are the gods that people worship out here. There is other gods. But he says there's only one God. Somebody is meant to hear this. I don't know who it is, but somebody's meant to hear these very words that I'm speaking right now. Not speaking into your life, okay? I'm not speaking into your life. I'm just bringing something to this platform that you might not have heard before. You might not have seen me in this vein. You might not have seen me working in this vein. But I was led today just to do this, okay? I was led to bring this forward because somebody right now is dealing with these issues and they do not understand why these things are happening. Okay, you do not understand and you need some clarification. You want to know why, man? Why do I keep doing this? Or why does this keep happening? You have to understand that you are betwixt. Somebody is working behind the scenes. Now, I ain't telling you to go shake everybody down in your life, to go dumping over the trash cans and throwing food in the trash because you think it might be your grandmother, your cousins, or your brothers. I'm not talking about stuff like that, okay? So keep the food on the table. Keep the trash bag in the trash can. Stop looking under the beds and lifting your mattresses up, okay? We ain't talking about that right now. All right? we talking about getting some clarification. When you start to notice chaos just come out of nowhere, man, why there's so much chaos? Man, I was doing good just a week. What is this happening, man? And you just don't know. I'm just giving you an option to think again that it could be something else. All right? I'm talking to my non-believers. You don't believe in God? Just understand that it could be something else. It could be something working behind the scenes that you don't understand. I stopped a long time ago trying to figure out God. I was always the person, I want to know God. Why God? Some things you just ain't going to be willing to want to know. Okay? You're not going to want to know every single detail because your mind might not be able to comprehend. Your mind and your spirit might not be matched up. So God ain't going to be able to reveal to you at the same time what you're dealing with. So what happens is if you're on this level, God will not give you the understanding of this level. He'll just allow you to experience certain things until you're able to match the level that you're on. Then he will reveal to you, okay, you just came through this storm. You just came through this particular storm. This is why this happened. Now prepare yourself for the next one. Some people feel like, you know what? God, why? And you haven't even prepared yourself to understand the realms of the devil, how he operates. Satan has order just like God has order. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He has low-ranking angels. He has high-ranking angels, mediocre angels. Yes, he do. Yes, he does. And they operate in your life just like God assigned angels to your life. Satan assigns demons to your life. Depending on where you are, that's what you deal with on your level. Some of y'all don't even know what it is to experience some of the hierarchy angels in Satan's camp. You just deal with some of the mediocre stuff and just keep bumping your head, bumping your head, bumping your head, don't understanding why it's happening. But as you begin to climb that ladder and begin to figure out and begin to feel the adversity, not only here, but here, you begin to feel that adversity in your life. Then you understand, those who are in God, know the word and all that, you understand that you're climbing another level and another dimension in God. I experienced some stuff, man, and I tell you, I will not lie to you here on this live stream. I experienced some stuff that I wouldn't wish on my worst nightmare, okay? We ain't talking about molestation and all that crazy stuff. We ain't talking about those type of things, which those things are sent from the enemy. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about diabolical stuff, man. Just the weirdest and diabolical stuff. I've experienced it. And now here I am in my life. I understand how things operate. Some people want to attack the person. Sometimes you can't attack the person. Let me say this, 9 times out of 10, it's not the person you at war with, it's the spirit behind the person. Now, when a person begins to operate and act, they're under the, just like a robot. One part of their brain is under the influence and one other part is able to function. When a person is under the influence of any demonic, they don't know that. Because if they did, they wouldn't be. Expulsion is the way that you expel anything that's in there, in you. Expulsion. When you expose it, it can no longer operate in you. Come on, I gotta teach this. If something is working in you, listen, if it's working in you, when you acknowledge it, if God shows it to you, somebody says something, whatever, if you pick it up on a bit, whatever, however you figure it out, if it's working in you, when you begin to expose it, that means the assignment is canceled. He has to leave. Once you expose what's working in, that assignment has to be canceled. Because the main objective of a spirit that has attached himself is to stay undetected, people. That is the goal. If you have something working in you, it has to remain undetected. Once it has been detected, the assignment against you in that particular area has been canceled. He can no longer work because you're acknowledging it now. You know that it's working. You know that it's working now. So that means it's canceled. So the only way that something can begin to operate and continue, that means that it has to do it undetected. That means it has to work behind the scenes. That's why Satan doesn't come with a red pitchfork with the devil horns and a red suit on. I'm the devil. No, sometimes he might be disguised as a smooth brother or a smooth female. Sometimes he might be disguised in a little child, or might be disguised in something that you won't know or might not be familiar about the way it's going to come. Some people don't realize that. Some people say, well, man, you know what? I feel some kind of way, man. Just the presence of that person made me feel some kind of way. What's wrong with me? Why did I feel like that when that person came into my life, or when I begin to talk to that person? I was talking to somebody one time, and we got to talking about the Bible. And this was at my job. Just a friendly person that I was talking to, blah, 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 blah. It was a guy, older guy. And he began to get mad with me, like violently mad. I mean, violently mad with me. Like it just wasn't normal the way he got mad with me. And I didn't even say nothing. I just was quoting some scriptures and things and just had a normal conversation. But his demeanor and aura began to just get mad with me, violently mad. And right then and there, I understood that whatever I said, it pricked that spirit in him. It was exposing or bringing it out. It was bringing it to light. So whatever I must have said to him, it brought the spirit up out of him. It started to act out. Anytime you begin to speak against something in your life, the enemy's going to act up. He is going to act up because his goal is to stay undetected. But when you begin to speak to it, when you begin to call it out, you can do it yourself. You got the power. You need to go to a pastor and say, can you pray or speak it over yourself? God gave you the power. He gave you the power to speak over your own life. So why not do it? I denounced this foolishness in my life. I denounced that. Whatever's working behind it. Begin to speak it. You got that power. You don't need elder so-and-so and pastor so-and-so. Can you pray for me? And they done prayed for you 1,000 times. No, do it yourself. God says he gave you that power. The only time you cannot exercise that power is when you got the fear. When you got that fear to exercise it. That means the witchcraft has stumped you or stopped you in your tracks from you even thinking or even operating in your own power to dismiss that spirit in you. What's up, Mason? Hey, good to see you again, bro. Yeah, I'm being safe on that bike, baby. I'm being safe out there. Good to see you, my man. I'm going to tell you something. The most craziest thing, and it's not crazy, but one of the experiences I've had in my life was to watch somebody last breath leave their body. You understand? A friend died in my arms. I literally watched him just die right in my arms. This is the truth. If I ever spoke it before God, this is the plain truth. And I sat right there, and all I could say to him, I was 16 and a half, about to turn 17 years old. He got shot in the head. And the only thing I could say at that particular time was, just hold on. That's all I kept saying. I said, just hold on. You're going to be all right. Just hold on. All I could see was his mouth mumbling. He wasn't saying anything, but his mouth was moving. His eyes was rolling. And I was scared to death. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. But I watched him lose his last breath. I watched him. He got shot in the head. We was all fighting at a nightclub. Guy pulled a gun out and began to start shooting. And that bullet hit my friend in the head. And watched his body lay right there. I watched him drop to the ground, fall back. And I'm going to tell you something. I wasn't in no church and wasn't doing all that, but I was scared to death. At that particular moment, I had enough courage. After the guy was walking off, shooting around and all that, I ran to him and grabbed him. He had a sweater, like a hoodie type of sweater. Took that and put it on top of his head to stop the bleeding. And this is the truth. If I ever spoke it before God right now, if I'm lying, I will eat every page in this Bible, and may God curse my life and my baby's life and my wife and my whole family. May God curse me if I'm lying to you as I speak right now. That was a life-changing moment for me. Because up until that point, my wilding out, my clubbing, my drinking, my selling dope, getting high, all that stuff was a reality when I seen that happen to me. It was a reality, wake-up call, if you want to call it that. It was a wake-up call to me. Because up until that time, I was acting loose with my life. Shooting at people, doing things, and didn't care because I didn't feel like life had any substance anymore because of the things that took place, what I did, the anger from not having my father, all kind of things at that particular time in my life. It was a wake-up call to me. That's why I carry my life the way I do. That's why I'm particular about who I let into my life. That's why I try to carry life with a little bit more passion than I did when I was younger. That was a life-changing moment. And that wasn't the only one. But that was the most rememberable one that I've had in my life. I could just remember verbatim what happened, how it happened. I don't have nightmares anymore. Like when it first happened, I don't know how long past that, but I know it was something that stayed right here in my mental. It stayed there. It was like it never went nowhere. I still think about it and still I feel it. You understand? But it's not like it used to be. About when that time and when it happened and henceforth after that. I had it like, wow, man, So that's why I carry life different. And I see things a little different. No better than you, not above you. Don't claim to be, will never claim to be. But it makes me a little bit more humble when it comes to certain things because I understand how this thing could be. I understand it. All I'm doing is just sharing these experiences, what I have learned, what I have occurred, and who I've been under and who I've been mentored by. Okay? There's a lot of people out here. Let me say this one thing. There's a lot of people causing shipwreck in people's lives because they're trying to do something that they have not been sent to do. They're trying to do things that they have not been authorized to do. When you start dabbling and playing around in this type of stuff, you can cause a curse upon your life because you're playing with something you have not been authorized, nor did God give you that certain power to operate in this vein. And so you begin to pick up the Bible and start speaking over people's lives and talking to people and doing all this stuff, not understanding the particular dynamics of what God is doing. You might be speaking something different in somebody's life, and God got something totally different than what you're speaking in their life, but you're painting a false narrative to an individual. Don't you know you're getting in God's way? Sometimes you just need to slow down and get out of God's way. Because if you get in God's way, what you think he'll do to you if you're interceding in what he's trying to do for somebody? Stop thinking you know everything. Stop thinking God sent you to speak over everybody. Yes, I'm talking to you with your YouTube page. I don't care. I'm not scared to say it. Yes, every time you pick a scripture up and claim that you're speaking in somebody's life and that you're articulating the word of God, Get away with that foolishness. If you do anything, help somebody understand the workings of the enemy so they can understand what is happening to them in their life. That's what you do. Stop trying to speak into somebody's life like you got the power to. You've been fired a long time ago and don't even know it. Yes, and haven't even been under nobody, haven't even been mentored, haven't even sat under anybody with any wisdom or any power of God. But now all of a sudden you got a Bible in your hand, you're trying to teach people. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. How some people grab the Bible, want to quote scriptures and all that. But then you ask them, who was their overseer? Who was their mentor? How long was they under them? Was you able to be obedient enough to sit under somebody long enough to even be schooled or taught? But they don't have no answers for that. They just grabbed the Bible because they went to church once or twice. They subscribed to being a Hebrew or Israelite, or being a Christian, or being a Methodist or Baptist. Now all of a sudden they're trying to give you some wisdom or trying to give you something in God that God hasn't even ordained for them to do. Because when God ordains you, he equipped you with the power to be able to speak or break a yoke over somebody's life. That's facts. When you speak in somebody's life, you're breaking yokes over their life. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Who betwixt you? Who betwixt you? What is it that we're actually dealing with here? And whom are we dealing with? We gotta take time out. Seek and ask God, what is happening? Because I'm talking to people on a day-to-day basis, man. In this life, it seems like it's going downhill very fast. I try to keep myself positive. I try to count it all joy. I try to keep a positive outlook on things, because I know life can just end at a drop of a dime. It can end just that quick. So I try to stay positive. I try to keep a positive outlook. See, people try to paint a narrative that is not. See, you got to realize what is sent at what particular time. Why am I doing that? And I gave a little observation about this. Why now? I think I talked about that in one of these previous live streams. Why now? Why at this particular time is this happening? Okay? Why am I being attacked at this particular time? Is it because there might be an elevation that God is about to do in my life? Or is it God going to move me to another place in life? I don't know. But why? Why are you going through what you're going through at this particular time? Sit back for a second. I know things are chaotic. I know things might be haywire. But you want to know why. You want to figure out. I know you do. I know you got the questions of why. Why, God? Just hold on a little longer. Just ask God to reveal some things to you. Talk to your God the way you talk to him. And I guarantee you, with the sincerity of your heart, God will show you. And he will reveal to you, bit by bit, what you're dealing with and where you are in your life and what is the course of action to get out of that. We are faced with these issues and problems one day to the next. There's famine, lack of resources, money. There's a whole lot of things that people deal with. And see, this is another misnotion. People think that we are operating in God's time. Or that God is operating in our time. I retract that. That God is operating in our time. No, we're operating in God's time. We're operating in God's time. He's not operating in our time. Because with God, there is no time. And we feel like, oh, we got enough time to do this. Oh, we got enough time to, no, you don't know. You don't know. Some people say give roses to people while they're alive, not while they're dead. Say I love you to somebody that you know before you don't have the opportunity to do that. If you even care about them, I don't know. But where we are in our life today, where we stand at in our life, the situations we face with, the problems we face with, we all are stressed out from one particular place or on one hand to another. We all are. We all are. Yes, me, the one right here before you. Yes, me. I'm dealing with all kind of madness. But I'm encouraging myself along the way, as well as having to encourage people that are connected to my life, as well as take care of my family and encourage my wife and my kids. Yes, me. But to whom much is given, much is required. That goes naturally and that goes spiritually. When God begins to increase in your life, to whom much is given, much is required. There's going to be a certain part of you required. That might be some of the reasons why you're going through because God is requiring more out of you because of what he already allowed you to inquire. What's up, Mason Carter? Peace, bro. Master of Densky, what's up? Bella Ann, what's up? What's up, wifey? Truthfully honest, what's up? Just want to say what's up to everybody. Everybody. And I know you're not going to receive everything I'm saying. But the things you do receive and the things you do understand, just take it. That's all. Just take it. And if you can apply it to your life, apply it. You know? This might not be for you. Cool. That's cool. But whatever resonated with you, just grab it. I know everything I said you're not going to remember. You're not going to take it in. Whatever the case is, just grab some of it or bits and pieces of if it applies to you. It may not. But if it do, I hope that something I might have said can help you. I just hope. Anything I've said today on this live stream might have been effective enough to help you. I don't have people lie on me. I don't have people scandalize me. I mean, it's crazy when you begin to experience these type of things. I've been there. I understand the particular place I'm in. That's why I got to choose my battles wisely, because people will draw you into stuff and then they'll begin to drain you. They'll begin to have you focus on foolishness when that's not part of any mission that should be in your life. Watch yourself. You gotta watch yourself. Be wise with what you're doing. The Bible said, be wise as a serpent. Watch your surroundings. Watch the people you entertain. Watch what you let into your spirit. Watch these things. Who betwixt you? I appreciate everyone that has came, has listened, has been a part of this broadcast, of this live stream today. Just wanted to give you a little bit of content that might help you. Again, I came from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. I came from 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23. If at any given time, if there's a question you have, I ain't talking about foolishness, okay? Let's get down to the real thing. I'm not talking about please, don't entertain me with no foolishness, man. I don't have time for it. I'm not going to pay you no mind. If there's something that you're in deep thought or question about, and if I have any small inkling of something inside that can help you, All I'm asking and all I'm saying to you is if you, nobody has to know, won't share your business, won't tell anyone, but if there is something, you can always email me, ace.barbertalk@gmail.com. Always, anytime. You can email me. Hey, look, man, you don't even if it's a fictitious name or whatever, and you got a legitimate question and need an answer or some help, and I'm able to do it. Now, if it's something I cannot help you with, I will let you know that. Okay? I ain't no exorcist. I ain't coming to your house expelling no demons and throwing people over the chairs and under the balconies. I'm not doing that because that's not what God has specifically designed me to do. I don't have that power to do that. So don't call me talking about, hey, man, can you come to my house? I got a demon in my bathroom and think I'm supposed to come over there like the Ghostbusters and start throwing stuff around. That's not me. Okay? But if you do have a question that I might be able to answer or help you with, I don't have no problem. ace.barbertalk@gmail.com. So I appreciate you. Hopefully this broadcast was able to help you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. May your lives be blessed. May you be geared up, charged up for whatever comes against you, to combat it, to overstep it. Don't allow it to hinder you. By this time in your life, even if you don't know God, you should have some reasoning or a decent proportion of reality and balance in your life to deal with adversity that comes against your life. So I'm praying and hope that everything is well. Continue to move forward. Don't let people with petty grievances and petty differences hold you back. Some things you got to overlook. Keep on moving. Keep marching. So until we meet again, my friends, I'm Ace. This is Ace's Corner Talk. Peace. I'm out.